What up, dogs? It's Mr. Allen. Mr. Allen Rocks 101 _ Instagram. Riverdog Jenny on the gram. And of course, Yoro. All right, let's get started. Meat and lunch. We're taking some breaks. Work through this review. Hopefully this helps for your test. You know what I'm saying? Let's see if I can get this thing to draw, though. That would be ideal, right? I'll go with the dark blue. All right. Following ramp has a gradient of 15%. What is the slope of the handrail represented as a fraction? Well, percent is per 100. So that's 15 over 100. And I can reduce that both by 5. 15 divided by 5 is 3. 100 divided by 5 is 20. Boom, there's my final answer. Next part is the supports, which are perpendicular to the ramp. What's the slope of that? Represented as a fraction. Well, flip it, change the sign. So it becomes 20 over 3. But since the initial one was positive, this becomes negative. Boom, I'm done. Problem number 1, out the door. All right. Next one. Then I'm going to take a break, take a bite of my orange chicken. It's delicious. G-Easy plans to build a ramp to make getting into his house easy for his grandma. You know what I'm saying? He plans to build a ramp that will have 1 inch rise for every 18 inches of run. He needs to account for 2 feet of rise. I'm going to jot that down. That's 2 feet, or how about 24 inches? All right. Label the dimensions, all 3 of the ramp pictured below that G-Easy will be building for his house. Round to the nearest 10th if necessary. So we might need our TI 84 plus. All right. So 1 inch of rise every, and then you get 18 inches of run. Some of you like to just multiply this out. I also like to set up a proportion. So my rise over my run. And if I know my rise right now is 24 inches, I will get my run by cross multiplying. So 24 times 18, and if you just knew to do that, that's cool too, equals 1x. So if I plug that into my trusty old TI 84 plus calculator, I'm going to need that number later. Anyways, I don't want to make a mistake. 432. X equals 432 inches. So that's this one right here. I'll keep everything in inches. Erase that feet. All right. Now, that's a right triangle. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. So I'll change colors. We don't mix things up. I'm going to go with that color. I got 24 squared plus 432 squared equals C squared, this being C right here. So if I got 24 squared plus 432 squared, that's a big old number. That is, oh man, there we go. 187,200 equals C squared, square root on both sides to get my answer. That is going to be approximately 432 point. It says to the nearest 10th, it's 0.6661. So the second 6 rounds the first 6 up to a 7 inches. Boom, boom, boom. Everything's done. That problem's over. Awesome sauce. That was a good couple bites of orange chicken. All right, moving on. You're cutting rafters to build a shed, or for a shed build. The roof has a 912 pitch, which is about 37 degrees. Later on, we'll learn how to calculate that angle. What angle measures will you use when planning cutting your seat and heel cuts? Well, as we can see here, this little cutout looks like this. Boom. I'm cutting out that little triangle, right? Well, we want these to be perpendicular. So if one cuts 37, the other one to be perpendicular to that will need to be its complement, okay? So I can do 90 minus 37 equals, what's up, Mr. Ernst? Equals, let's see here. That'd be what? 53 degrees. Oh, it's beautiful. Another way you could have gone about it is if that's a right angle and I throw, say, a 37 right here, then that bad boy right there, I could do, everything adds up to 180. So I'd have 37 plus 90 plus x equals 180. So I'm subtracting 37 and 90 from 180 to get x equals 53. Either way, you get the same answer. I love it. American freedom. Rock and roll, brother. All right, next problem. I apologize if you can hear the printer in the background. You know what? If it is, it is. You know what I'm saying? Whatever. All right, doing this. We're constructing stairs that need a total of 9 steps. Woo! 7 inch rise, 11 inch run. What length 2x12s should you purchase? Now, fun fact, the 2x12, that has nothing to do with the math in this problem. That's just the dimensional lumber that you're purchasing. So the picture below, just to give you an idea, a picture of what's going on, that only has 5 steps. Okay, so don't think that like there's 2 different problems. 9 steps is what we're dealing with. 7 inch rise and 11 inch run. Now, if I were to label that 7 inches, 11 inch run, what I'm trying to calculate is this length right here which is my hypotenuse of said right triangle, that is 7 and 11. I'm going to draw that larger so we can work with it in this problem. So 7 inches, 11 inches, and x. So Pythagorean theorem once again for the win. Oh, I love me some Pythagorean theorem. It's my favorite of the theorems. All right, so I got 49 plus 121 equals x squared. That is, I can do math. 170 equals x squared. I'm going to square root that, okay? So 170 to the 0.5. In my calculator, I got 13.0384 blah, 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 blah. 13.038, so on and so forth, inches. I'm not going to round that yet, you know, because hashtag YORO. You only round once for mathematical accuracy, right? Science teachers, they round all the time, and they are totally wrong. All right, moving on. I'm going to multiply that by 9 steps, all right? One step takes 13.038, so on and so forth. I'm going to multiply that by 9. Woo! So if I do 13.038, so on and so forth, times that 9, I just left it on my calculator. Didn't even have to type it in again. I get 117.345, so 35 inches. Or you can just go 0.3. I don't care. That's cool. Boom. There is my wonderful answer. That's what I would accept on a math test. If you were to actually go, say, to Menards or something like that, you'd want to convert that to feet by dividing by 12. I'd get 9.77 feet, 9.78 actually. So I need to get a 10-foot board. On our math test, 117.3 inches, totally acceptable. Awesome sauce. Let's do another one. Oh, simplifying radicals. Looks like there was a 5 I forgot to delete. Whatever, we're moving on to 6. So I like to try and break down by 2s first, then 3s, 5s, 7s. I'm going by prime numbers, Optimus prime numbers. All right, divide by 2, 150. Divide by 2 again, and I get 75. Divide by, I can't divide that by 2. How about I go with 3? That's 25 right there, and then I got 5 and 5. If you thought to divide by 10 and 30 to start, that's cool too. You're just going to look a little bit different. Either way, I got pairs. So that means I get 2 times 5, which is 10, and then the root 3 stays in. Whew, that's awesome. Ooh, my copies, I think, are done. That's exciting. We'll do one more, then we'll grab those. All right, 44. I'm going to break that apart. 2, 22. And then I got 2 and 11. I can't break apart 11. That's actually prime. Got a pair of 2s. 2 comes out, but needs to be multiplied to that 8. So I get 16 root 11. Oh, this is good stuff. I'm going to pause. I'm having too much fun. All right, ready to move on. Number 7, distance between. Ooh, love me some distance formula. Perhaps we jot that down. x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. Those little numbers at the bottom are called subscripts. Okay, they're lower. They're not exponents. They're subscripts. Woo! All right, so when I plug these in, this is my x1 comma y1 for the first order pair. Second order pair is x2 comma y2. Cool. Awesome. So now I'm going to have in the square root, -4 minus 0 squared plus, and then -1 minus -9 squared. What's up, Mr. Moore? We're just doing some math videos. It's awesome. All right. And then I'm going to have, let's see here, -4 minus 0 is -4 squared. And then we've got 8 squared. Woo! So I've got 16 and 64. And I get square root of 80. And you're like, man, that's it? We're done with the problem? Nope, we're not done. We got to break that bad boy apart. So, again, just like the previous problems, I'm going to divide by 2 to start. I get 40. 2 again, I get 20. 2 again, I get 10. 2 again, I get 5. Woo! That's all sorts of 2s. Pair of 2s. Pair of 2s. 4 root 5 is my final answer. That is wonderful. I love simplified radical form. Mr. Moore, do you love simplified radical form?
Mr. Allen, I love simplified radical form.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Woo! All right. Green marker time.
I like to keep things exact.
That's what I'm talking about, brother. All right. Now, we got 2 minus -1 squared plus. And then I've got -1 minus 3 squared. Again, it's x1, y1, x2, y2 for my 2 ordered pairs. That becomes addition. So we got 3 squared, and I got oops, I almost forgot my squared there. -4 squared. If you are plugging this into your calculator to get the inside part, Make sure you have parentheses as I had them around that -4. Otherwise, your calculator will give you -16 and everything goes terribly, terribly wrong. And then you start crying. And I don't want to deal with criers, okay? So we've got 9 plus 16 and I get square root of 25. And you might be like, oh, do I got to break this down? Or you might be like, bro, square root of 25. I know that. It's just 5. There's my answer. Exact answer. It's a nice integer for once. Lovely. Fantastic. I'm going to have another bite of orange chicken. Slope time. All right, so you should probably have our slope formula down here. That's a weird M. There we go. So here, order matters. y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Whichever order pair you start with, you got to start with both in the numerator and denominator. Distance formula, it actually doesn't matter because we're squaring things, but I like to be consistent so I don't mess it up when it counts, okay? So for this one, I have my y2, which is 8, my y1, which is 2, and then I have my x2, which is 1, and my x1, which is 9. Now I'm going to simplify. I've got 6 over -8, so that'd be -3/4 as my final answer. Lovely. Fantastic. Next one. All right. For this one here, I've got 8 minus 0 over 1 minus 2. So 8 over -1, which is just -8. Awesome sauce. Slope is done. One of those bad boys on the test, right? I'll usually give you 2 on the review, double the amount. On the test, we'll have 1 slope, 1 distance formula. Be great. Okay. So you're planning to pour a concrete patio and you want it to be 10 feet by 15 feet. What length should you get if you measure from quarter to quarter to ensure that you have right angles? Round to the nearest hundredth if necessary. All right, so if I draw this patio out and I've got 10 feet by 15 feet, I want to know what length this should be to ensure that I have a right angle. Well, that certainly looks like a right triangle. How about I use Pythagorean theorem to calculate what that length should be? So 10 squared plus 15 squared equals c squared. When I pop that bad boy in, I should just have my key next to me, but apparently I don't. I don't know. All right. So we got 325. And since this is an application problem, I am not going to require you to simplify with radicals, but I will have you give me the decimal equivalent. So C equals 18 point, it says nearest hundredth. So 0.27 becomes 0.3, and that would be feet. Boom. That is what I should get. So right about 18 feet, a little bit over 18 feet, and we've got ourselves a right angle. That's awesome. Sidebar question, sidebar. If I had a floor and a wall, we did one of these in class, but I'll do another one. So let's say this is our wall, and then let's say this is my floor, right? And that wall sits on that floor as I'm framing it up. Floor. It's made out of floor joists, right? Like 2x12s usually. Maybe you've seen it like in a basement if you've ever been one. So if I want to find out, hey, is this wall square with that floor, right? Is it plumb, right? That's a vertical form of level, right? So I could take my tape measure, and let's say we just take a measurement here, and let's say I go with, how about I went up 80 inches. Bless you. And then let's say I head out and I go with, and I've got 50 inches. Actually, I'm going to go 55 inches. Okay. So I take my tape measure, up 80, out 55. I know it's not the scale. And then I want to know, I'll take my tape here, and let's say I measure 100 inches. Okay. So these are all tape measures. I've marked where I did that so I can create this imaginary triangle, right? And I want to know, is that wall perpendicular to that floor, or is that wall plumb, or do I form a right angle? Those are all the same things, okay? Just different terminology. I can use my Pythagorean converse, 100 squared, I don't know, and then my other two sides, 80 squared plus 55 squared. All right, so if I do 80 squared plus 55 squared, I end up with 9,425. Here I'm going to have 4 zeros. So it's 100 times 100. Well, that is c squared is larger than the a squared plus b squared. So this right here, that is an obtuse angle, which makes this imaginary triangle an obtuse triangle. It's greater than 90 degrees. So I'm going to have to take this wall and kind of like bring it in this way. I'm going to pull it in a little bit to try and straighten it out if I were actually building this. Okay? That was a fun little sidebar there. Let's go back to the review. All right. Now, more of the math version of the previous question. Classify the triangles as acute, right, or obtuse. I'm going to use my Pythagorean converse. So I have 25, got a little box. Then I have 24, squared. Oh my goodness. 10 squared. So if I plug this in my calculator, I get 625 over here, unless you knew that offhand. And then over here, I'm going to get 676. That tells me that c squared is less than, which makes it acute. Next one. Again, larger side is c, so that's my c squared. And I have 6 squared plus 7 squared. If you did 7 squared plus 6 squared, that's okay too. So I'm going to have 64 on this side. And then I have 78 over here when I plug that in. Or if I did 36 plus 49. Once again, this is less than, so it is an acute triangle. Woo! We are cruising. We are cruising. All right, last one here. We got 25 squared. It's my largest side. And I've got 8 squared, 23 squared. All right, so I've got 625 again on the left. We already did that. And on the right-hand side, I have 593. Once I plug that in, so c squared is larger. This is obtuse. Had they been equal, it's a right triangle. All right, that's the only scenario we didn't have there. Sometimes we have it, sometimes we don't. Moving on. The slope of a gable end roof is 812. The building's 24 feet wide. How tall is the roof? All right, so if I were to draw this roof out, I'll just do the roof part. All right, and I know this guy would come down and be perpendicular. If we're framing this out, right, it's going to be symmetrical. It is 24 feet wide, which makes this 12 feet. Now, in this one, you might realize that some of these numbers are going to kind of work together really nicely. I'm going to work it out as if we have any other scenario. So my slope is 8 over 12, which is my rise over my run. Now, I don't know my rise. I'm asked how tall is the roof. I'm asked for my rise. But I do know my run is 12, so we should probably see that that x is going to be 8 as well. But if I cross multiply, I get 96 equals 12x divided by 12, and I get x equals 8. Boom. Now, if you're framing the roof, how long would the rafters be? That is my sloped part. I'm going to do that in green. So that's this part right here. We'll call that y. Oh, look at that. I got a right triangle. I got 2 legs. I can just set me up some Pythagorean theorem. Woo! There we go. So if I do that, I got 64 plus 144. That's 208 equals y squared. And this is an application problem. So I can just go ahead, square root that, and I'm going to get y is approximately 14.42 feet. 14.4 feet works as well. Either way is cool. I love it. It's fantastic. Miss Cabell, how are we doing?
Doing good.
That's awesome. All right. Moving on. Number 12. We're going to do this. We got a few minutes left. All right. Special right triangles. You guys love these things. Review video. You know what I'm saying? It's awesome. I need to rehydrate.
Love it.
All right. So here. Boom. It's a 45, 45, 90 triangle. So that's 1, 1, square root 2. Woo! Across from a 45 is n. Across from this guy, which is also 45, is going to be 4. And then across from my 90 is m. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying.
Mm-hmm. We have some grapes. I'm eating. No mask. But
I am right.
now I got a mask.
I'll get away.
No, I like your mask, though. Mm-hmm. All right. Now we're going to cross multiply. N times 1 is n. I'm working with these two. I'm going to do that in a different color. Check this out. It's going to be dope. It's going to be awesome. Purple. N equals 1 times 4 is 4. Woo! Done with that one. Now I'll use a different color. Orange. For these two. 4 times root 2 is 4. Root 2. 1 times m is m. This one worked out so nicely. So nicely. No rationalization. It was awesome. All right. I wonder if we'll be so lucky in the next one. Probably not. Okay. Now, this one's a 30, 60, 90. So that's 1, root 3, 2. Across from my 30, that's a 4. Across from my 60, which is right here, that's going to be the V. And then across from my 90 is U. All right. Now, we'll work with, we'll go purple again for the first one. We'll work with these two. So 4 root 3 equals V times 1. Oh, that's just V. I'm done. That's awesome. That one was just as easy. All right. And then I'll go with, we'll go with red. So now I'm going to be working with the 4 over 1 equals U over 2. 2 times 4 is 8. U times 1 is U. So there we go. We're done with that. Awesome sauce. It's wonderful. Fantastic. All righty. Next one. Next my marker. Okay, whatever. So this is a 45, 45, 90 triangle. 1, 1, root 2. I got X, I got Y, I got 4. Across from the 45 are both my X and Y. Those are going to be the same value. If you're like, hey, are those going to be the same? Yes, they are. So I'm just going to solve for one of them, okay? I'll work with these two. So I get Y times root 2 equals 4 times 1, which is 4. All right? And then I'm going to divide by root 2. And I get Y equals 4 over root 2. And I know some of you are like, hey, man, I got a system for this. I know what's going to happen with these simplifications. I'm going to go through the rationalization process. So root 2 over root 2. And now I have, let's see here, 4 root 2 over 2, which becomes 2 root 2. Okay, so X equals 2 root 2, and Y equals 2 root 2. They are the same. It's an isosceles right triangle. That's cool. Last little bit here. Then I'm going to have to cut it off, and I'm going to try and get the last page in a separate video because I am out of time here. It's 1:34 is when we end. I got to stop this thing before the bell so I can get to class. All right. Let's go with, I'm going to go with a purple marker. All right. So here I've got a 30, 60, 90 triangle. Now it's 1, root 3, 2. And I've got, across from the 30 is my Y this time. Across from the 60, which is right here, that's a 6. And across from the 90 is my X. All right, so I'm going to cross multiply with 2 of them. I'll go green. These 2. So I have Y root 3 equals 1 times 6, which is 6. I'm going to divide by root 3. And I end up with Y equals 6 over root 3. Can't have that. Got to rationalize. Root 3 over root 3 equals 6 root 3 over 3, which is just 2 root 3. So that's my Y value. Now, many of us may have noticed, hey, if this is 2 root 3, can I just double it to get this one? And absolutely you can. That is 4 root 3. Boom. We've already done a lot of rationalization. I'm going to stop it on that one. We'll do one more here. So now I've got, again, a 30, 60, 90. That's not a 3. And I've got across from the 30 is Y, across from my 60 is my X, and across from my 90 is an 8. All right. Well, I'm going to go with the Y first. So Y over 1 equals 8 over 2. So I get 2Y equals 8. Divide by 2. I get Y equals 4. Then I'll work with the, how about the X's? So I have X over root 3 equals 8 over 2. Cross multiply, I get 2x equals 8 root 3. Divide by 2, and I get x equals 4 root 3. Woo! Woo! That's good stuff. That's what I'm talking about. All right, uno mas. We got 1 minute. 1 minute. All right, for this one, still a 30, 60, 90. So 1 root 3. 2. That's not a fraction. 2. All right, across from my 30 is a y. Across from the 60 is 3. And across from the 90 is x. So I'm going to cross multiply with the y's first, or with the y. So I'd have y root 3 equals 3. Divide by root 3. Okay, since we got a lot of 3's going on here. So y equals 3 over root 3. Can't have that. Got to rationalize. Root 3 over root 3. So I get 3 root 3 over square root of 9, which is 3. And then 3 divided by 3, those cancel, and I'm just left with root 3. Weird. All right, so y equals root 3. And then if I wanted to get the x, because I got my short side, that long side is double. So x is going to be 2 root 3. Or you can go through cross multiplying in the same process. You heard the bell. I got to end this video. I'm going to try and get the last page there after school today. We will see. All right, otherwise, you guys have a wonderful day. American Freedom, Rock and Roll, Costco, Riverdog, Jenny on the gram.